session, we have started your programming concepts for the if statements, right? We have seen one program for the if statement. So today we are going to see next statements. So next statement is if else statement. Okay, it is also the decision statement. So in the if else statement, we first check any condition. If that condition false, then if that condition returns as a false, then the body of else statement gets executed. And if that condition returns true, then the body of if statements gets executed. And later on, we will see the next linear execution. That means the next line of the code will get executed after body of if, after body of else. Okay. So ये कब हम use करते हैं? When you need to check some conditions, and if that condition is not satisfied and you want to perform some operation, that you can add here into the else block. ठीक है, जो भी आपको स्टेटमेंट लिखना है, जो भी कंडीशन चेक करनी है, तो वो कंडीशन अगर आपको सेटिस्फाई नहीं होने के बाद कुछ कोड करना है, दैट यू कैन राइट इनसाइड द एल्स ब्लॉक. If else. If else statement is the name of the class I am creating. Include the main method here. Okay. Now we will perform the next relational operator we are going to see. Here we have checked one relational operator that is greater than, right? So वैसे ही हम यहाँ पे और एक relational operator देखेंगे, that is less than or less than equal to. ठीक है? So suppose I have two variables which has some number. Integer b is equals to 745. Okay. Now I want to check which is lesser in these two. If we use only if statement, then what happens? It will check if a is less than b. It will display system.out.println a variable's value I am appending here is smaller than b variable's value. Okay. I am appending here b variable value as well. But after this, if I directly use one statement, system.out.println and if, then I will not get the output if the b variable value is smaller. Okay. That means if the value b is smaller, then we will not get that output because a is less than b. That is correct. In the current case, 54 is less than 745. That will be correct. I think there is some package. Okay, I will run this application one more time. So you can see here, we are getting 54 is smaller than 745. Okay, we are checking based on the variable values. Okay, we are not checking these values directly. हम यहाँ पे variable के नाम से check कर रहे हैं. We are not checking based on the values directly. Okay. If I change the value for the a variable to 5445 and the b variable value is same, and we are trying to find out which is smaller, then we will not get the appropriate output because we are not added else block. In this case, if I want, because this condition fails, this condition is failing. Why it is failing? Because a variable's value is greater than the b variable value, right? That's why this condition is failing. And if this is failing, it is directly, as per the sequential execution, linear execution, it will directly go to the next line of the code to execute. But we have not added any code whether we are displaying that b variable value is lesser than or smaller than the a variable value, right? So to do that, we will add the else block. Same part, only the variables we will interchange, that is b is smaller than a. Now we will get the expected output, which is smaller, right? So 745 is smaller than 5445. That means this else block is executed successfully. So this is equal to sign, less than relational operator we have seen. Similarly, you can check for equality also. So if A variable value is 45 and B variable value is again 45 or lesser than 45, I'm using the equal operator. And we want to check whether A is less than equal to B. It will check whether the value of A variable is lesser than or smaller than B variable or equal to. Okay, so this is the symbol for the less than equal to. Then we are displaying the same output. A is only the thing here I am having is smaller than or equal to B variable value. Else, if A variable value is not smaller or less than this, it will display that B variable value is smaller than or equal to A variable value. Okay, just check the output we are adding here, the variable sequence matters. ठीक है, जो भी आप यहाँ पे use कर रहे हो उसके हिसाब से whatever output you need to display on the console, that statement you have to construct on the basis of the condition. ठीक है, so 45 is smaller than or equal to 45. We have the first condition gets satisfied. ठीक है, if I change the value to 450, then we will get the first output because B variable value is less than A variable, A variable value is lesser than B. Okay. And if I interchange with this, the value like this, then we will get the else block gets executed. This is else block output, जहाँ पे हमने sequential execution के हिसाब से आपको else block का output मिल रहा है. Okay, because this condition is failed. Understood? This is if else statement. If anyone has any doubt, you can ask. Next one is if else if statement. Okay, if else statement. You can check here. We can add multiple conditions. This is also known as if else if ladder because it works as a ladder. It first check the first condition. If the condition satisfies, then the statement 1, or you can say if statement 1 gets executed. If not, if it is returning false, then the second condition gets checked. And if the condition is satisfied, or you can say it is returning true, then the second if statement gets executed. If this condition is also fails or it returns false, then this third or whatever the number of the execution statements you are adding, multiple conditions you are adding, that gets checked, and wherever it finds out the condition is satisfied, that statement gets executed, if statement gets executed. If nothing is satisfied, any condition is not satisfied, then the body of else statement gets executed at the end. अगर कोई भी condition satisfy नहीं हो रही है, तो body of else statement execute होगा. And later all these statements, the statements just below if else if statement, that is nothing but the sequential execution gets executed. So we will perform this. We'll create another class. If else statement, include the main method. So we are going to perform the program whether the number is positive or negative. Okay, so we will perform the program whether the number is positive or negative. I will add one more, or 0 also. Okay, so we are going to perform this operation or this program right now. So first of all, I am creating one variable a is equals to, I am assigning some value 85. Okay, I want to check whether this number is positive or negative. So we know that this number is positive, but programmatically, how will you check? Justin, tell me, how will you check? What logic you will add here? We want to add one if condition. What that condition will be? क्या condition हो सकती है? How will you find out whether this number is positive or negative? Yes, I need answers. Anyone? Anyone know? Have you learned number line in school? Have you learned number line in mathematics? Yes, everyone. Are you there in the session? If yes, just tell me, have you learned number line in school? Do you remember anything related to number line? No one remembers? Okay, so when we say that it is a number line, number lines has the numbers. Left hand side numbers are all negative numbers. -6, -4, 5, -4, -3, -2, -1. After -1 always comes 0, and then the positive numbers, right? This is a number line. We learn this in school life, right? So here you can check that if we want to check the condition or we want to perform this programmatically, then we have to check the data based on the number, based on this 0. So these are the 0. First, we will check whether the number is 0. So to do that, we will use a equal to 0. That means equality we are checking. So system.out.println, if it is true, we will directly display that the variable a value is 0. Okay. If it is not 0, that means the positive numbers are always at the right hand side and negative numbers are always left hand side. That means 0 से जो भी ग्रेटर वैल्यूज है वो आपके पॉजिटिव रहेंगे, 0 से लेसर वैल्यूज है वो आपके निगेटिव रहेंगे, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाई वी नीड टू चेक वेदर नेक्स्ट कंडीशन इफ else if I want to check next condition. Here I am using a is less than 0. If a variable value is less than 0, then that value will be negative. Okay, so that value will be negative. A variable value is negative. After this, if that number is not 0, if that number is not negative, by default it is positive, right? By default it is positive. So we don't need to add any other condition here that is greater than 0 के लिए condition add करने की जरूरत नहीं है. You can directly write down that statement here into the system else block and write down the system.out.println. It is positive. Okay, so this condition fails, then the next condition gets checked. If this condition also fails, then your else block gets executed. Okay, or if whatever the matching condition satisfies, or then the matching if block gets executed. अगर ये condition satisfy हो रही है तो उसका if block execute होगा. अगर ये condition satisfy हो रही है तो उसका ये block execute होगा. Okay, now we have to run this and we will check whether the a variable is value is 85 and it is positive. That means our else block gets executed. If I add minus sign here and we will execute it, then we will get 85 is negative. That means this else if block gets executed. Okay, so if I change the value to 0, the first if statement gets executed and you will get the output which is written here in the if block. Okay, this is if else if statement. You can add multiple conditions here. This is also known as if else if ladder. Okay, Okay, after that we will see the nested if else. This program we can perform using nested if else also. I will show you that. Nested if else means you can add multiple if conditions inside another nested if else. Okay. So suppose I am first checking whether that number is 0 or not. Okay. So A is equal to 0. I will change the value. Okay, no problem. We can use the same. If it is not 0, then we will use else statement. Inside this, we can add the same condition, whether if A is less than 0. If it is 0, less than 0, then that value will be negative, right? And else block will be added to this if as it is. Okay, that means we are simply in else if we are simply removing these brackets and adding this if statement here. ठीक है, तो आप एक के अंदर एक कितने भी if statements, else statements लिख सकते हो. There is no limitation for that. As per your requirement, you can add any data. ठीक है, n number of if else if statements, n number of nested if else statements. ठीक है, so this we both these if conditions are giving you same output because the a variable value is 0. If we change this, you will get whether it is positive or negative. Clear? Then we will go forward with the next, that is loop statements. So sometimes we need to execute some line of code. Okay, some lines of code multiple times. At that time, we need to use loops. How will you use the loops? अगर एक statements या multiple statements, lines of statements, कोड आपको multiple times execute करना है, number of times execute करना है, then you need to use loops. So loops are used to execute block of code multiple times. Multiple times means it is always depends on the test expression. Okay, we need to use the test expression to check whether that condition until कौन से condition के basis पे आपको वो loop execute करना है. ठीक है, till what time you need to execute that loop, that is depend on this test expression, and when to exit that loop, that is dependent on your condition itself. So you need to add the condition that must stop your loop. Okay, if the condition fails or it goes into infinite loop when your condition is not correct, or that means it is wrong, then it always goes into your infinite loop. Okay, so first loop control we are seeing here. There are three different types of loops: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. First we are seeing here, that is for loop. The syntax is for. Initialization statement is must here. Okay, or you can skip that also. But how to use without that we will see. Okay, next will be the test expression, and last one is the update statement. All these three are with in the round brackets. All these are separated by semicolon, and after that you will add a block of code which will gets executed until the test expression is returning true. So you can see here, first the initialization statement gets executed. It will be initialized only once. That statement gets executed only once. Then the test expression gets executed. So test expression will be executed until that condition is true. So test expression, when it returns true, the body of for loop gets executed. Once after the body of for loop executed, the update statement gets executed. It can be iteration. Okay, we are updating the statement. It can be iteration, positive, negative, whatever the based on your condition and the initialization. Okay, you can add here the update statement, and that update statement. After the update statement, again the test expression gets executed. If the test or the condition is returning true, again the body of for loop gets executed. So this goes forward until the test expression returns false. Okay, so after this test expression false, the loop gets exited. So exit for loop, and then the statements below the for loop, or you can say the sequential execution, will be started. So we will perform this. Here we will create one class. So here we will perform for simple for loop. I will show you. Integer I is equals to 0. This is the initialization statement. I want to display 1 to 10 numbers. Okay, and I want to add show that numbers from 0, or you can add here 1 also. Okay, 1 to 10. So based on this, you need to add the condition. Condition will be I should be less than 11 because we are starting from 1. So the condition needs to be executed till 10. Okay, that's why I'm adding it here 11, or you can use less than equal to 10 also. So I'm using here 1 to 10. That means increment. So the update statement I'm adding here as post increment, that is I plus plus. This will be the update statement for me. System.out.println. I'm directly displaying I is equals to I variable value. Okay. So whenever this goes from first, how it executes? सबसे पहले तो I की variable value है 1. I variable की value 1 है. So it checks the condition whether 1 is less than 10. True, it returns true, right? Then this statement gets executed, that is I is equals to 1 gets displayed. After that, your I plus plus gets executed, update statement. So it will add I is equals to I plus plus means I plus 1, that is 1 plus 1, it will become 2. This is known as iteration 1. Iteration 1. Okay, this is known as iteration 1. In the similar manner, we will perform, or this loop will perform iterations. Iteration 2, जहाँ पे I की value 2 है, this will not get executed. Initialization will be done only once. It will directly check whether I is less than 10. True. Then it is displaying I equal to 2, and it is incrementing the value I plus plus value to 3. Okay. Now, like this, we will perform, or this loop will perform till 10. Okay. Iteration will be 3, 4, 4. We will one by one go here. Okay. 3, 4 value true hai. It will change the value to 3. Will change the value to 4. It is incrementing to 4, and it incrementing to 5. Then in iteration 5, the value will be 5 is less than 10. True. It is displaying the value as 5 and incrementing it to 6. Then the iteration 6 will be there. Iteration 6, it is checking whether 6 is less than 10. True. We are getting the output at 6, and it is incremented to 7. Then the iteration 7. Iteration 7, it is again checking whether the 7 is less than 10. It is displaying the value to 7 and it is incrementing to 8. In iteration 8, we are checking whether the 8 is less than 10. Yes, it is true. We are getting the output and it is incrementing to 9. Now, in the iteration 9, what happens? In the iteration 9, we are checking whether 9 is less than 10. True. We are getting the output as 9 and it is incrementing to 10. Last iteration, that will be the iteration 10. So here we are checking whether 10 is less than 10. It written. We are checking here equal to sign, right? It is less than or equal to him. That's why we will get the output true. Okay, sorry. So here we are checking less than equal to, that is why we will get the output as true, because 10 is equal to 10 and we will get the output 10 and it is incremented to 11. In the iteration 11, 11 is less than 10, it returns false. And that is why it exits the loop. Okay. So here, always remember, iterations will be depend on the initialization value and the condition. If you are using initialized 1 to 10 equal to 10, then you will get the 10 iterations. The 11th iteration will be the last iteration and it fails. If you are using 0 to 10, if I use this 0 and if I use less than 10, then only 10 iterations will be done and the 10th iteration will fail because we are not using equal to sign here. ठीक है, तो आपका output सिर्फ 9 तक आएगा, 10th का output आपको नहीं आएगा. So it always remember that it always based on your initialization value and your condition, it works on this basis. ठीक है, so this is an increment किया है हमने. This is increment. In a similar manner, we can perform the decrement. In the decrement for loop, integer j is equals to 10, or I will use 100. ठीक है, I want to decrement value 100 to 10 display करना है with the step value as 10. Then we can perform that j 100, j less greater than equal to 10 or greater than 0 भी कर सकते हो आप, and j minus, if we use minus, it will only decrement by 1, but I want to use step as 10, तो उसको हम इस तरीके से कर सकते हैं j minus equal to 10. You know that this shorthand operator हमने already पढ़ा है, right? So here we will directly use system.out.println j is equals to j variable value. Then you can see here you will get the output from 100 to 10. Okay, how it is stopped at 10? Because we have not used here equal to sign in the condition. ठीक है, इक्वल टू साइन यहाँ पे यूज नहीं किया है. अगर आपको 0 भी दिखाना है तो जस्ट यूज ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू साइन, इट विल डिस्प्ले, द इटरेशन विल गो टिल 0 and after next iteration will fail, right? If we are not using this equal to sign, the 0 iteration will not get displayed because the iteration stops after decrementing 10 minus 10. Okay, so this is the decrementing loop. You can initialize the value outside of the for loop also. And in the for loop, for the initialization statement, you can keep it blank, but you have to add the semicolons compulsory. Okay? In this for loop, you have to compulsory add the condition part. Okay, so here we are. Is my screen visible, everyone? Okay, so condition is compulsory. That's why we will add here I. We'll use 1, initialized to 1. I is less than equal to 10. I'm skipping the update statement here in the for loop. You need never give semicolon after the braces. It must have the block of code. ठीक है, यहाँ पे ब्रैकेट्स के बाद यहाँ पे सेमिकोलन देना नहीं है आपको. कंपाइलर एक कोई भी एरर नहीं दिखाता है, बट यहाँ पे आपका कोड स्टॉप होता है. नेवर गिव द सेमिकोलन आफ्टर द round bracket. It must have some block of code, or it must have at least one line of code in the loop. Okay, so now I have skipped the update statement, but you need to use the update statement here. So you can add that update statement at the end of the for loop. So I am adding here I plus equal to 1. Okay, that means I plus equal to 1, both are same. You can use anything. I plus plus is also there, and I'm going to do some. This program is for displaying table of 2. System.out.println table of 2. Okay, so we are performing here multiplication operation. So if I want to perform I plus multiplied by number 2 is equals to, it must display the output, right? So I am calculating here I multiplied by 2. So whenever the value is increasing, that means first is 1 into 2 equal to 2. Next, for in the next iteration, it will display 2 into 2 equal to 4. Okay, in this way it will display the values. ठीक है, आप ये 2 इधर भी ले सकते हो, whatever you want. Now I am executing this, so you can see we have created the table of 2 with the help of for loop. And in this way, you can write down the for loop also. You can write down the initialization statement outside of the for loop. You can skip that here. You can skip the update statement, but you need to add the update statement at the end of the for loop. And condition is compulsory. तीनों में से आप सिर्फ कंडीशन भी दोगे तो भी चलेगा, but you need to give the condition compulsory. Okay, this is all about for loop. If you understand this for loop, you may understand the next loops very easily, that is while loop. So next is while loop. It is similar to the for loop. All the loops are same. Only the thing here is, in the for loop, initialization statements and update statements we have to add into the for statement itself. Okay, but in the while loop, you can simply give the test expression. If the test expression is true, then the body of the while loop gets executed. If it is false, then it will exit the while loop. Okay, so here it always, the test expression gets executed first. Same program if you want to do with the for loop, then while loop, I am creating one class, include the main method. So we will initialization statement, update statement you have to add. Okay, but that statement you can add in the method or the code wherever you want outside of the loop. Okay, now we will use the while. Here I am checking whether I is greater than 0. System.out.println I is equals to, same program I am doing with the. Now here update statement we need to use. That update statement I am adding at the end of the while loop. So that is I plus plus. So sorry, I minus minus because it needs to be decremented. Okay. So this is the decrementing while loop. So when to use while loop? When you just want to check any condition and based on that you need to execute block of code multiple times. ठीक है, तब आप while loop use कर सकते हो. For loop is mostly preferred where you need to provide the initialization, condition and update statement at the one go. Anything you can use. ठीक है, for loop भी use कर सकते हो, while loop भी use कर सकते हो. Every loop has the same functionality. It is used to execute block of code multiple times. Only the difference is here, this initialization statement, update statement, and condition you have to provide. And in the while loop, you can only provide the condition. So if whenever you need to perform the looping operation based only on the condition, you can go for this while loop. Last loop is do while loop. So here, do while loop, we are seeing the first do statement, some code, ठीक है, the block of code. At the end, while statement is there, ठीक है, while test expression will be there, and it only this do while loop ends as in the semicolon. ठीक है, this only loop is there which ends with the semicolon. बाकी दोनों loop नहीं है जो semicolon से end होते हैं. सिर्फ do while loop will be the only one which ends with the semicolon. So what happens in the do while loop? The body of the loop gets executed first, then the test expression gets checked. If that condition is true, returning true, then again the body of the loop gets executed. If it is false, then it will exit the do while loop. Okay? So in this statement, at least once this do loop statement gets executed, difference between while and do while is only one, that while statement always checks the condition first and then executes the body of the loop. But in the do while loop, do statement gets executed first and then the condition gets checked. So next time, whether to execute these loop statements or not, that is totally depend on the while test expression. ठीक है, तो while के टेस्ट एक्सप्रेशन के ऊपर आपका डिपेंडेंट होता है कि नेक्स्ट टाइम आपका डू while लूप एग्जीक्यूट होना चाहिए या नहीं. सो डू while लूप always have one iteration compulsory. Next iteration will be dependent on your while condition. Okay, so same program we can perform using do while loop. Do while loop include the main method. Here I am initializing the value I is equals to 10. I'm using the do statement, do. Here I am displaying system.out.println I is equals to plus I. Update statement I am adding here I plus equal to 10. Okay, and here at the end I am adding the condition 10 to 10. ठीक है, 10 से मैंने step किया है, so I am adding here I should be less than equal to 100. At the end I am adding the semicolon, so it will iterate the statements till this I value becomes 100. ठीक है, based on the condition given. ठीक है, so 10 to 100 we are getting, but instead of that, if I use here less than 10 itself, then what will happen? It will give you only one iteration value, that is the first do statements. After that, it will check the while output, while condition, and it will return false. That's why ये next time iteration के लिए नहीं जाएगा. You will only get the first iteration, that is I is equals to 10. Clear? So you can perform these loops based on your requirement. You can use any loop. कौन सा भी लूप आप यूज कर सकते हो. आपका जो भी सारे लूप्स जो है वो सेम तरीके से काम करते हैं. ठीक है, कोई भी लूप आप बेस्ड ऑन रिक्वायरमेंट, कभी कभी सिर्फ आपको फॉर लूप ही यूज करने की जरूरत होती है, कभी कभी सिर्फ व्हाइल लूप ही यूज करने की जरूरत होती है, कभी कभी सिर्फ डू व्हाइल लूप ही यूज करने की जरूरत होती है. ठीक है, सो That is totally depend on your scenario and what type of condition you want to perform. So in the do while loop, if you want to execute that code at least once, then you can go for the do while loop. Okay. So we have seen some relational operators. We will see one logical operators also. Logical operators. Logical operators are and or and not. ठीक है. And or not. So and is used. हमने bitwise and देखा है, bitwise or देखा है, correct? It is the name of the package, module 4. Okay, so and is used when you want to check multiple conditions in one if statement, and if you want to need all the conditions to be true, then we go for the and. Okay? If the conditions either or should be true, then you can go for the or. And this is a negation sign. It is inverse your condition. So we will perform one program here. That is, suppose I have 3 variable values, 89, B is equals to 78, and C is equals to 63. Okay? So I want to check whether which one is greatest of these three, okay, or smallest of these three. So I will first perform the program with and I will change it to or. I will show you the output for both. Okay. So either or जब आपका कंडीशन रहेगा, then you can go for the or. And or का ट्रूथ टेबल हमने ऑलरेडी देखा है, तो वो वैसे ही वर्क करेगा. Okay. So if I use if A is less than B and I want to check whether A is less than C also, that means A variable value is less than B and less than C, then we can say that this A variable value is smaller than B variable value and C variable value, right? B and C से ये smaller है, मैं यानी यहाँ पे display किया. Second condition, I want to check whether B is less than A or C. ठीक है? So else if A, sorry, B check करना है, so we will use B is less than A and B is less than C. That means we are checking here whether the B variable value is less than A as well as B variable value is less than C. And use किया है means we need, अगर ये कंडीशन आपको ट्रू दे रही है आउटपुट, ये कंडीशन आपको ट्रू दे रही है आउटपुट, तो ही ये एल्स इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होगा. In the same condition here, if A is less than B is giving you true as output and A is less than C is giving you true output, then only this if block gets executed. यहाँ पे जितने भी conditions आप add कर रहे हो, उन सारे conditions का output true आना चाहिए. Suppose that if A is not less than C, that means this condition is failing. Then this if statement fails and it will directly go to the else if statement for the next condition. ठीक है, क्योंकि हमें दोनों से स्मॉलर है तो ही आपको स्मॉलर है दिखाना है, राइट? सो बी इज एन ए एंड बी इज स्मॉलर देन सी. एल्स थर्ड चेक करने की जरूरत नहीं है, अगर आपको करना है तो आप कर सकते हो, बट नॉट कंपल्सरी. if A is not smaller, B is not smaller, by default C is smaller, correct? So you can directly add that here into C block. Else block, sorry, is A and B. So as per the values we have assigned here, you can see the else block should get executed because 63 is smaller than 78 and 89. Okay, so आपका else block execute हो रहा है यहाँ पे. You can check here If you want to add, we will add here system.out.println else block executed. Okay. Here also I will add else if block executed, and this is if block executed. So you can add n number of lines of code here into if all these blocks. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे values के हिसाब से else block आपका execute हुआ है. Suppose I change the value to 61, I will append. So based on the conditions, your else if block is executed. 78 is smaller than 89 and 631. ठीक है, तो else if block आपका execute हुआ है. So here we want to check whether this दोनों values, दोनों conditions true output दे रहे हैं, तो ही आपका execution होना चाहिए. If we change it to or, so what happens? If any of these conditions returns true, your if block gets executed. ठीक है, अभी दोनों में से एक भी कंडीशन ट्रू हुई तो आपका if block execute होगा. Now you can see here A has a 89 value and B has 78 value. So 89 is less than 78, it is returning false, but 89 is less than 631 is returning false. If block executed na, 1 second. 59 is less than 78 and 89 is less than 631. This condition is returning true because 89 is less than 631. That is why दोनों में से एक condition आपकी true हो रही है. That is why if block gets executed and you are getting the values or output from the if block. But this is false. This is false implementation, wrong implementation. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमने क्या डिस्प्ले किया है? A is smaller than B and C. That means it should be smaller than both numbers, right? But यहाँ पे 89 is only smaller than 631. The condition is correct, but here you are adding the operator, which is wrong. So you need to add the AND operator here only. So remember that choose the operator as per your requirement. जहां पे either और कंडीशन आपको ऐड करना है वहां पे आप और यूज कर सकते हो टू ऐड मल्टीपल कंडीशंस. जहां पे दोनों तीनों जितने भी कंडीशंस है सारे के आउटपुट्स आपको ट्रू आने चाहिए, तब आप एंड यूज करोगे. And negation is used for inversing only. Suppose here I will show if not A equal to 0. I'm checking whether A is equal to 0 condition check कर रही हूँ and I am adding as not. That means it is basically checking whether A is equal to 0. If this returns true, अगर ये true है, so it will inverse it to false. And if it is false, this condition is returning false, then this if block gets executed. System.out.println A is 0. ठीक है, मीन्स A is not 0 के लिए वो बेसिकली एग्जीक्यूट करेगा. Else system.out.println I am simply adding some statements. ठीक है, both statements may not be correct. यहाँ पे statements actually गलत है. ठीक है, बट मैं आपको दिखाती हूँ. अगर मैंने A equal to 0 वैल्यू सेट भी किया तो this output you will get when A is not equal to 0, and for currently A equal to 0 you will get this else block. A is not 0, which is I have written into the else block. तो इसको मैं यहाँ से हटाती हूँ. And if I change the value to 10, then you will get the if block because we have used negation sign. Sorry. सेव नहीं हुआ था. ठीक है, A is not 0. A is not 0 because A has the value 10. And जब मैंने वैल्यू 0 किया था, अगर आपको देखना है A का वैल्यू तो आप यहाँ पे वैल्यू अपेंड कर सकते हो. Here also you can append the value to check the value. A is not 0, because a value is 10. And if I change it to 0, then you will get the else block, which is 0. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे हमने क्या किया है, we have written one condition, and if that condition is returning true and we want to inverse it, if that is false and we want to perform some operation, some code, lines of code, then we use this negation sign, not sign, for inversing the condition. ठीक है, clear all these logical operators and all the loops cleared, everyone? Any doubt? So to break any execution at particular point of time, you need to break the execution. Then you can use break statement in the loops. These statements we use in the loops. Okay? So if in the for loop, in the while loop or do while loop, anywhere you can use this break statement. It is executed based on any condition. Okay? So suppose I will create one new class for break statement, break and continue statement. Include the main method. So same for loop I am using. You can use anything. Integer I equal to 1, I less than equal to 10, I plus plus. System.out.println I equal to I variable value I am displaying. And suppose when variable I value will become 5, I want to stop the execution of this. Okay, I will display here I equal to 5 will get displayed. Okay, and here I am using break statement. Then we will execute this. Let's check how it executes. So you can see your execution stops at 5 because we have used here condition. If I variable value is 5, then it will exit the loop without executing the next statement. If any statement is there here, system.out.println statement after break, okay, it will not get executed. It will stop execution immediately when the I value becomes 5. ठीक है, so ये statement आपके बाकी 4 के लिए execute होंगे, but whenever you are using break statement, it will stop immediately. Similarly, we have the continue statement. If you want to only skip that execution and continue with the next iteration, then we use the continue statement. Instead of this, I can use the continue. Okay, statement after continue. Let's execute this. So you can see for I equal to 5, it skipped that execution. We have not get this output statement after continue. It incremented the value to 6 and the next iteration will be continue as it is. ठीक है, so ये break and continue statements का use होता, both we use in the loops only. ठीक है, so this is the continue statement, test condition within the for loop or any loop. ठीक है, if it returns true, continue, and if it returns false, remaining loop part will be executed as a normal programming. ठीक है, in the break statement, it will stop directly the execution of the loop. It exits the loop, and in the continue, it only skips that particular iteration and continue with the next iteration. Clear? Any doubt? Anyone? Anyone want to ask any doubt till here? Okay. What is exactly like a header file? This package 4, you're asking, right, Jyoti? This you're asking, na? Okay. So this is not a header file. When we create any folder on your computer, right? अगर आपको कोई डेटा स्टोर करना है एक ग्रुप करके, तो आप एक फोल्डर क्रिएट करते हो सिस्टम पे, एंड यू पुट ऑल दोस फाइल्स, related files into that folder, right? So similarly, in Java, we create the folders. Those are known as packages. Okay, so we are storing all these .java files inside this module 4 package, or you can say under that module 4 folder. I will show you that. One second. I will open my Eclipse workspace and I will show you. So this is your workspace project name, Stu Valley, right? Inside this SRC folder is there where we have created the project. Inside that project, inside the SRC folder, we have created the .java files. Okay, so this is module 4. This is the folder created, which is nothing but a package in Java. And all these .java files are stored inside this module 4 package. Similarly, we have created module 1, 2, 3 package where all these Java files are stored. Same files, to store the .class files, same folders gets created inside the bin folder. Okay? Because the first statement of your .java file is always the package statement. We have seen the structure of a program, right? So there we have mentioned that the package statement will be the first statement. So we are going to see the package, but in अभी के लिए आप सिर्फ इतना ध्यान में रखो कि package is nothing but a folder we are creating. That is when we are importing something from other classes or other packages, other data, library files, other classes. That time we use this import statement. That is not the import statement. Okay, we have used one import statement, I think test accessibility. Here we have used the import statement. Here we have imported this access specifiers class from module 1 to 3 package. Okay, so this is the package name and this is the class name. So you can use whatever you have used, java.util. So Java is nothing but the name of the package. Util is nothing but the name of the sub package, and then the name of the class. No, it is just a folder. Import is like a header file, you can say. Package is nothing but a folder where you are storing the files. We are specifying compiler that just store this Java file into this package or into this folder. That's it. It is not a header file. Import statement is kind of a header file, you can say, because basically importing something from somewhere, right? So importing is nothing but as a header files you are importing. Package is not going to refer any files inside it. No, they are used for storing purpose. Those are nothing but the name given to a folder. जैसे आप खुद से नेम देते हो वैसे ही हम पैकेज कीवर्ड के थ्रू पैकेज डिफाइन करते हैं एंड उसके अंदर हम फाइल स्टोर करते हैं, जावा फाइल्स.
So suppose if I want to refer this file, okay, so then I can include module 4 in my program, correct? Because these all files will be saved here.
Yes, module 4, inside the module 4. Yes.
Okay, suppose I'm having if condition program, for loop program, while loop program, do while loop program. So many programs in the one of the folder, that is module 4.
Yes.
So these all things I want to refer it in one more program. So that time, can I give import module 4?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
But
So
that
module
is
4 is just like a
that is
container.
outside of the package.
Outside of the package.
Yes. If you want to add those inside the module 1, 2, 3, then you can use directly the import module 4.
मैं
Okay.
ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि import कब देना है, package कब देना है.
So import is used to import some other classes which are in another packages or in another headers,
Okay.
library files. Okay, that time you need to use the import statement. Package statement
Okay.
is just only the package where you are telling that to store these all files at one folder. Okay, if you want to use this if statement inside any class which is stored here into another package, that is suppose data types or test class. ठीक है, अगर आपको यहाँ पे करना है, then you need to use that import statement because these two files are stored in different packages. Okay, so the classes which are stored in different packages, and if you want to refer those, then you use the import statement. Okay, package statements are only for storing purpose. If you want to use those files, those classes outside of the same package or refer the class, that time you need to import that. Understood?
So module 1, 2, 3 and module 4, fine. So if I want to refer module 4 inside module 1, 2, 3, I should give import.
Yes, you should give import because these two are in different folders.
Okay. So if I'm going for the existing container, so it is something like a container in which I can keep on storing all my files. That is module.
Yes, that is
Oh,
package.
sorry, battery package. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, the container is package where you are storing all the files. Suppose you want to refer that data from that container in another container, then you have to import it.
Okay, thank you.
Suppose consider that there are two jars. Okay, one jar of rice, one jar of dal. So suppose you want to take out the jar, from one jar, you want to take out the rice, from another jar, you want to take out the dal. Then if you want to use rice and dal in another third container, then you have to import first jar also, second jar also, okay, into the third one. Because
Okay.
these are three different jars. Understood?
Okay.
Three different containers.
Okay. So dal is just a container in which so many dal granules will be there. Okay.
Yes.
And rice granules will be there. That is a rice jar. Okay.
Yes.
So these two, if I want to import it, I can import it in one more container.
Yes.
Suppose
if you want
I'll
to
create
need,
module 5.
yes, if you need to use these rice and dal in third container,
I
third
have to
class,
import.
you can say, then you can use this as a import statements.
Okay.
You can import these two.
Okay.
Okay. Wherever required. So we will see the import statements in later programming when we are using this, when we are going to use java.util.scanner class, then you will be able to understand that clearly. Okay. Abhi ke liye sirf understand this, the package is only the container, nothing else. We are storing the data into that container. That's it. Okay. Basically, we are classifying our data, our programs in different based on the modules. We are classifying or differentiating the data classes based on this module folders. Clear? Okay then. So we will end our session for today here. If anyone has any doubt, you can ask. And we will continue with the switch statement tomorrow. And we will see how to take the user inputs using the scanner class tomorrow itself. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a nice day. You may leave. Ma'am, you may end the meeting.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.